Hi, this is Amethyst Treleaven and I'm doing a reading, a Psychic Ogham reading again. This time it is reading number 783 for CD. And as usual, we'll start at the top here and we'll work our way around the Oghams. Now, our first Om stave right at the top is this one here, and that is Aspen or Adia. Now, Aspen, that's in the position of theming your whole reading, and it's actually a little bit about fear. It's a little bit about trepidation. So here, this stave is I guess suggesting that for you right now, and certainly over the last 6 months or so, a little bit of worry, a little bit of hesitation has been central to what's been going on in your life. And we'll pull all of this together as we usually do for UCD as we go through. Okay, so here, this Om stave here is Ash, and it's in the position of theming the last 6 months, perhaps the last 12 months for you. And this is very much about transformation and about change. This is an Om stave that suggests the last 6 months in particular has been a time of great change for you, and we know that it has. Lots of things have been happening for you, but it's not just about change that goes on around you. This is a stave that talks an awful lot about change that happens within you. It's about transformation within the way you think, the way you feel, and your approach to life. And I sense that particularly since the sad loss of your mum not too long ago, that for you that change has been one, dare I say it, almost of lifting a weight off your shoulders, that you are now in a position to carry on with the rest of your life. And I don't mean that as though your mum was a burden, far from it, but that now you don't have that continual worry asserting its way into your life. These two Om staves here, we'll talk about this one, which is Broom, and then underneath that we have Lewis or Rowan. Now, these back up this one very much, in that Broom is about sweeping clean everything, particularly in the last 6 months or so, everything that has held you back. So, for instance, you mentioned to me that you were redoing the house, you're rejuvenating the house. This is what Broom is all about. And for you, it's almost... exciting might not be the right term, but it's about cleansing away the sadness and the heaviness that has infested itself on you in the last few years, and it's about clearing that all away so that you can feel fresh, so that you can feel ready to step into the world ahead, and that's what you've been doing. Lewis or Rowan, that sits underneath that, this one here, is about self-protection. It's about making sure that you've been in a good place, emotionally, physically, legally, and so on, and you've done that. But for you, whilst that's been important, of course it's been important for you, particularly in the last 3 months, and this one sits on top. Broom is much more prevalent for you, so it has been all about that clearing away for you. Now, in the middle here we have Muin or Vine. This is very much about reaping what you sow. Now, this is sitting in the position of right now in your life, currently what's happening in your life. And so for you, you've always been someone who believes strongly that you don't get anything without working hard for it. And of course, you've worked very hard these last few years in a number of different ways, and you are now beginning to reap those rewards. But let's look a little bit more about these staves over here on the right, because these are the ones that will answer the questions that you posed to me a little more than the past ones. We usually put those past ones in there because it's really good as it clarifies and gives context to what's happening in here. Now, it's interesting that we have two staves here that are that sometimes are complementary, but that are also in opposition to one another, and it's these two here. This is Heather, and this is Gorse. Heather is in the position that themes the next 6 to 12 months of your life, and so it has a greater degree of importance, if you will. It has a bigger emphasis for you than does Gorse here. Heather is about love and about companionship. It's about partnership. It's about having a relationship that is more than just kiss and tell. This is a deep and meaningful Ogham stave, and this is about not just about whether you will have a relationship in the future, because I know that was one of your questions, but this is very much about you finally being at peace with who you are, or becoming to be at peace with who you are. I sense for the last 2 or 3 years or so you have struggled between identities as carer, as daughter, as student, as worker, and that for you the last 3-4 years or so, particularly the last 2 years, has been a massive struggle. It's been hard work. You felt heavy, you felt very, very drained, you felt very lonely at times, you felt pressured, and you felt a degree of loyalty to the things that you must do, and as a result sometimes it's been a sacrifice, not necessarily a sacrifice that you didn't want to do, but it was quite draining and heavy for you. Heather talks about, for the next year ahead, this is an exciting time for you where you begin to realise that you are more than a carer, you are more than a daughter, you are more than a worker, you are a woman. You are a potential lover. You are creative. You are funny. You are attractive. You are all of the things that you have been suppressing in the past because you felt unworthy and sad and lonely and pressured and heavy. Finally, you are in a position when you can begin to let go. Now, I know that you're probably saying to me at the moment, I'm not sure that I feel that yet. No, you may not feel that yet, but you certainly will begin to feel freer and more open over the next year. So this is a fantastic stave for you to have in the position for the coming 12 months. Now, Blackthorn, I've mentioned on several occasions, this is not my most favourite stave. Thankfully, it sits underneath Gorse. Blackthorn is about sadness. It's about that ongoing desolation that you felt on occasions and that loneliness. It's not to say that the loneliness and the heaviness of the last few years is going to continue, because this sits on top, but it does say that lingering heaviness that you felt will carry on to a lesser degree, most certainly, but it will take a while to taper off. Gorse, that's sitting on the top here, is about living in the now. You haven't really been able to live in the now. You've had to have plans for what was going to happen when you finished study, how was financially, how you were going to cope, how were you going to cope with the imminent death of your mum, and so on and so forth. This is, Gorse says, and backs up Heather to a certain degree, and it says, come on, it's time now to have a bit of fun. It's time now to relax. It's time now to recognise that this is your time. This time belongs to you, and to go for it. It also has another couple of messages in there as well. You asked me about relationships. Relationships, I'm afraid, in the next 6 months are not in this in this spread. But there's always a but, isn't there? There are opportunities for you to have a bit of fun with someone, a couple of people in fact, and there are opportunities for you to begin to develop relationships with people that are not necessarily going to be long-term relationships or deep and meaningful relationships, come to that, but they are going to be fun, and that's what you need right now. These staves talk very much about the next year being a year where you are a little bit like a flower that's been closed up. If you imagine a rose and it's been tightly closed up, and it comes to spring and it opens up, and then you see its full beauty and glory. You are just at that point when those petals of who you are begin to open, so that everyone can see how amazingly beautiful and funny and clever and exceptional and caring you are, but more importantly how you begin to see how amazing you are. So I encourage you to go with those relationships, even though they're not going to be long term. Know that they're not going to be long term, so that you don't have expectations and just enjoy them in the short term. This is a beautiful stave to have that underpins your next 6 and essentially 12 months, and this is apple or quet. Now apple is very much about living to your full potential. It's about being everything that you are capable of being, and loving who you are. And again, can you see how these all begin to come together? This is a time in the next 12 months when you can not only open up as that rose that you actually are, but you can blossom, where you can grow and develop, where you can start to have fun, where you can really become all that your soul is capable of being. So I really encourage you to have a great time in the coming year. So relationships in the next 6 months, no long-term relationships for you, I'm afraid, that I see in the reading here, but a lot of fun nonetheless. So I encourage you just to have that fun, use that fun as a stepping stone to take you into a more opportune relationship, which is coming your way in about August, September of 2014. You also asked me about work. What this talks about is that you're going to take the next 6 months or so to really better understand the role that you play in your new job, which I recall from our previous reading I said that you would have. Use the next 6 months to get to a place of understanding and enjoyment with that role. There is another extension to that role, if you like, or a slight sideways, slight upwards shift to that role in about the middle of 2014. Does that include additional education? Absolutely, yes, it does, and it will be something that you absolutely thrive and adore. So I encourage you to go with that. What I'm sensing here that is in your career, you'll continue with that career, but you'll actually add a specialism to that career. So that's that kind of sideways move, if you like, but with an upward trajectory to it. Thereafter, you just keep going and you keep going. Now, I'm not sure whether we've done this before, but your birth tree is ash or Newen. Now, ash, as we talked about before, is very much about transformation and change, but it's also a tree it's a chieftain tree from the Druidic religion, spirituality, and that's because it's prone to being struck by lightning for some reason, which is quite interesting, isn't it? And as a result of that, this wood was quite often used for Druidic wands because it had that, it held that capacity of the lightning, it held the energy of that lightning, and so it was seen as being really, really important. Ash people are quick-witted, and sometimes they're spontaneous when they're comfortable. They're intelligent and they have a great deal of curiosity, so that really pushes them into areas that other people might not want to go. They can be very inspiring as well, and certainly they are very motivated to achieve what needs to be achieved. Also, your Druidic Animal Oracle card this time round was Salmon. Now, this is Salmon or Braden is a fantastic Druidic animal. This is about wisdom. Salmon is the oldest and the wisest of the Druidic animals, and so he has a very special place within Druidic folklore. Salmon is transformational, and remember we talked about transformation, and that transformation was your theme Ogham stave as well, and this is partly because of his wisdom, but it's partly because he is born in one place, he goes out to sea to live in another place, and then he comes back to his birthplace to spawn and to create the next generation. So he transforms from being in one place to another and coming back again. He teaches us a number of things, and that's about dedication to task, that's about dogged determination, and but it's also about authenticity and about truth to self. So again, we pick up with this apple stave here, which for you is in the next 6 months is about following what you want to do, not what you feel you have had to do, which is what has happened for you in the past. It's also this is a Salmon is also about not shying away from challenges. It's about going at them and being proactive. It's about courage, but above all, he is about wisdom. So for you, this is a fantastic animal to have as your Druid Animal card. So I hope that that's been helpful for you, CD, and I look forward to giving you another reading in a few more months or whenever you're ready. But in the meantime, I really encourage you to enjoy the 6 to the 12 months that are coming for you, because they're going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a time of release and energy and laughter.